These are not. Hey. These are not on. Hey. On 3, 1, and 2. And did you ever watch Lawrence Welk when you were little? Maybe not. Hey, welcome back to the podcast, everybody. On today's episode, would you talk to your mother with those thoughts?
You, sir, are a liar.
You don't even know what you just did.
What did I just do?
You don't have any idea what you just did. It's good. It's good. It works. I want to do the whole show this way. I love the fact that you don't put headphones on before we, until you're done doing your little.
It's one of those buttons we were hitting.
Maybe you just put your headphones on here in a minute. This is your voice that is just a little more, I don't know, heavenly.
You, sir, are a liar.
Yeah, that's what you did. Yeah.
Which button did you push?
This one.
Is that better now?
That's better.
Okay. We got to leave these buttons on. There's too many buttons on this thing.
So many buttons. This thing could probably do it'd probably just do our whole podcast for us if we could figure that out.
Press the AI mode and sit back and let it do its thing.
That's right.
But yes, today we're talking about, is it okay to lie? Is it okay to lie? And you are actually a liar. And I am not making an overstatement.
I came in this morning and Doc looked at me and he said, "You are a liar." And I got to admit, I had a little bit of a twinge go down my spine. And I thought, oh, what did I do? What did I say?
How do you find out?
Yeah. I said, that's not the first time I've been told that. And then he says, it's all in your mind. It's true. Well, before we dive into that, I just want to do a quick little review on a couple of things because I know that I've had some people ask me, and then I'm sure there are plenty of folks out there who think we're just going to keep moving on and not go back to it.
Right.
So on my journey of, well, let me talk first about the truck. It's running great. It's crazy how many people have asked me, how's that truck run? You get some more antifreeze in it? Well, it's running great, but it did have a brand new indicator light come on the way here this morning.
Yes.
So I showed it to Doc, and of course I'm sitting there going, how am I going to figure this out? And he said, well, Google. So we get the phone out, and apparently I have a loose gas cap. This thing's got an indicator for everything. And so And for the listening audience, we did find in our research this morning for the Dodge Ram 1500, there is over 132 indicator lights possible on that dang dash. And I think I've seen 100 of them.
It's bizarre. I'm used to like 3.
Yeah. 132.
132.
That's nuts.
It's crazy.
So anyway, that's going fine.
Truck's running great.
And then the second thing I wanted to just do a quick review on is my weight loss journey. So it started out great, and I'm down 3 pounds.
Woohoo!
But I was a little discouraged over the weekend. I found myself on Sunday afternoon. When I get home on Sunday afternoon, I feel like I have just been through.
Like you ran a marathon.
Exactly. It's crazy how much mental work goes into public speaking and preaching. And so I'm always taking a nap of some sort, but I found myself in my recliner and I had the old TV on and I had it on back to back episodes of Naked and Afraid. And why? I don't watch Naked and Afraid regularly, but I was locked in on this one. And so I'm watching it, and I'm finding a common theme on 3 of them in a row where these people are out there for 21 days. They are starving out there in the desert, sweating almost to death, literally eating nothing but a little bit of meat that they get every now and then. And at the end of the show, after losing 14 pounds, it's like, what? I figured they'd lost like 50.
Right.
This is not going to be easy. See, I have a tendency to always tell myself it's going to be easier than it actually is.
And this segues perfectly into today's show that you are a liar.
Yes.
And, we're always talking on here because I'm a cognitive behavioral psychologist.
Right.
And I've, for 30 years, I've worked with the topic with whether it's clients or patients or executives or companies or churches. But the basic concept that everything kind of boils back to, how you think, what you do leads to what you feel.
Mm-hmm.
And that circle, that triangle works together. How you think leads to what you feel. How you think and what you feel lead to what you do. What you do can change how you feel. How you feel can change how you think. It all intertwines. And the key cornerstone in all of this is how you think.
Sure.
Because if you think you're a loser, then you feel like a loser. If you think you're a loser and feel like a loser, you're going to do loser things. You're going to be lazy and sit on the couch and watch Naked and Afraid all day.
I call it naked and ashamed.
But if you feel, you wake up like you have a flu, you wake up and you feel horrible, then you begin to think about, I don't want to do certain things. How you think, what you feel lead to what you do. How you think brings to mind what to do. So the cornerstone is how you think. And so we've talked ad nauseum for a couple of years now about different ways to change how you think and beat the dead horse about the different mental filters we load into our brain of and how to identify those perceptions that then guide our feelings and behaviors. And this past couple of weeks, I've been, listening to other things and doing some of the research and trying to, how do I reach my guys with a fresh take on some of this so that it connects? Because sometimes when people are talking about stuff that you can't quite grasp it or understand it. It may make sense at a kind of an academic level, but then the application becomes difficult or impossible to do because I don't know how it relates.
Sure.
And I hearken back to something you said early on. You were telling the audience, you're telling me that as you're mowing the lawn, you have an entire argument with somebody who's not there.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of it, you don't need to talk to them anymore because
It's already been resolved.
It's been resolved.
I won.
And that kind of, another way to look at all of this is self-talk.
Mm.
And I think maybe people can connect that to what's going on. Is that there's a constant dialogue going on in our mind. And so the hook here, you are a liar,
Mm-hmm.
because it is what you are telling yourself. Those are thoughts. What you are telling yourself, your brain responds to.
Mm.
And this is something so critical for people to get. If you get nothing else, get this. Your mind and your brain are two completely different things. Your mind is vapor. It exists nowhere.
Mm.
But your brain is a physical organ that lives inside your skull. And so what you think is fed to the brain, and the brain reacts to what you are feeding it. If you picture a scary image in your mind, you present that to your brain, and your brain now goes into overdrive, activates the fight or flight system, and you start to feel scared.
Yeah, they can see that in MRI images.
Yes. And that's, part of what was kind of doing some of the research I was doing this past couple of weeks is they're talking about that, it's not just that, in memory, this part of the brain lights up. And when you're happy, that part of your brain lights up. And when you're thinking, that part of your brain lights up. But what they were really fascinated with in these research articles I was reading and some of the videos I followed up with is you can intentionally activate those areas of the brain. That if you're happy, this part of your brain lights up. But if you just smile, that part of your brain lights up. Mm. Well, your mind is the software. The brain is the computer. Whatever's in the software is going to run the computer. So whatever you're thinking runs the brain. And where do most people think? And that is the conversation they have with themselves all day. And that conversation is so important because that conversation creates your identity. And so the self-talk, what you say to yourself, is your reality. I mean, if I walk through a hotel lobby and I think I see, an old Navy buddy across the way, Tom, and then the elevator goes and I'm like, oh shit, Tom's downstairs. What the heck? I haven't seen him in 20 years. And I got to run back down the stairs and I run back into the lobby and I'm looking. And then the guy over there at the coffee pot turns around. I'm like, Tom! And the guy turns a little more and it's not Tom. Remarkably similar.
Yeah.
But if I never got back to the lobby, as far as my reality is, Tom was in that lobby because that's what was in my mind. And so what I'm telling myself is reality. So when we talk to ourselves, that is the time to be so critically self-aware of what you're saying to yourself. And so over the years, you've always heard about, self-affirmations. And what people don't understand is there's two different approaches to this. Positive and vague self-affirmations really don't help.
Yeah.
What was that? Saturday Night Live?
Exactly. That's what I was going
in
my head.
Now, a couple of things that make self-talk powerful. If you shift from I am to you are. Because that puts some distance between you and the voice in your head. And so this is now an outside voice telling yourself, you are competent. You can do this. And that's like your personal coach. And so
that's really good.
Like in football, you're like, I can't do this. And the coach comes over and puts his hand on your shoulder pads and leans down and says in your ear, you can do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly you start feeling like you can, and you feel motivated to give it another shot.
Yeah.
But when you say, I can do this, it doesn't have the same powerful effect.
Yeah.
And so speaking to yourself in second person is a more powerful form of self-talk. And in a way, you probably already know this because there's a difference between the times that you said, I'm such an idiot, or the internal dialogue where you chastise yourself and you say, God, you are such an idiot. And that second one is always more powerful than the first one.
Yeah.
And so, now that we're talking about this is the challenges, throughout the day. Listen to that dialogue you've got in your mind. How many times are you beating yourself up, tearing yourself down, defeating yourself before you begin?
All day for a lot of folks.
You ever have a conversation with yourself?
I'm trying to think of how many I had on the way here this morning. Yeah, I mean, it's something that can be a habitual thing where we just immediately go to worst case scenarios, or we go to, just like you said, beating ourselves up for this and that. All of a sudden, the experience that you're having can become, if we're not careful, well, that's the worst thing I've ever gone through. And then you say, well, what's going on? Well, I went through the McDonald's drive-through, ended up getting all the way through, and there was no salt on my fries. That was the worst thing you've ever gone through?
Well, and that's part of the, what you tell yourself is what you experience. This is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then it's horrible. And so the self-talk one is second person. You are, this is you, this is your experience. And then the next part of it is realistic. This is a delay.
Right.
Yeah. This is taking up time that I wished I was driving to work.
Yeah.
It's not horrible. But if you say it's horrible, then that's what your experience is. It's horrible.
Yeah.
And that's what the research I've been reading about is, they're very fascinated by the fact when you say, this is horrible, the areas of your brain light up that activate the fight or flight system, create misery and sorrow. But if you shift and say, this is an inconvenience. This is the delay. Those areas don't light up and other areas do. Areas where there might be patience or tolerance or the frontal cortex where we're rethinking the decision to stop at McDonald's on such a tight schedule.
Sure.
Yeah, maybe next time I'll just wait.
Yeah.
But here I am in line.
I like the verse in Proverbs that says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. Proverbs 3. And I had someone tell me one time, every single time I get into like some kind of a traffic delay or I get rerouted on a detour, the first thing that I think of now is, well, what is God keeping me from?
Mm-hmm.
What is he protecting me from? What situation did I not just have to experience because of this? So it's a good thing. Now, and you're acknowledging God. So it's a great opportunity. So it just went from an obstacle to an opportunity. And so I've tried to put that into practice.
And that's, this self-talk. And instead of saying, this is horrible, I can't believe this, my life is ruined, there's a reason for this.
Sure.
This will work out.
Yeah.
This gives me a chance to, whatever.
Yeah.
So what you tell yourself is what you will experience.
We're constantly doing dress rehearsals for things that are to come. And we can either do a dress rehearsal on the positive side or in the best case scenario or the worst case scenario. And so, because we all struggle with living in the future. And so, and I'm just going back to that whole smile thing. That is a difference maker. That can literally not only change your day, but it can change other people around you. Just try walking into a room full of coworkers or family or whoever it is. Walk in and try walking in a few times with that normal scowl on your face that you have and see what happens. And then walk in one time with a smile.
Uh-huh.
They will light up. They will also smile. It's hard to smile at someone and look at them and not have them smile back. I do this on Sundays. I'll smile and I'll look right at somebody and just almost to the person they will smile. It's crazy. But that's the power. That's the power of the smile.
And the final thing about the self-talk, and this is what the neurobiologists have discovered, which is you're kind of referencing in anyway, is already written down a couple thousand years ago. But what they've discovered is that, this sounds like a cheesy exercise, self-talk. You are good. You can do this. You can handle this. You've been studying for this. You can get through this. You're a good person. A couple of elements of it that I want people to pay attention to as they practice this over the next week. One is be specific and be identity focused.
Mm.
Instead of saying you're a good bowler, you are a bowler. Now, the rest of the brain, the rest of the mind will then work to support the identity. Whereas if you say you can read a book, you can do this, you can get through this, well, that's very task specific, task oriented, and I can get through get it with minimal frustration, get the book read. But if I change the language and say you are a reader, you are academic, you are smart, you are knowledgeable, well, what do readers do?
Readers read.
And so if I work on changing my identity,
Mm-hmm.
if I build that identity, you are a reader, you're an academic, you like to study, as I tell myself those things, then the reading and the studying and the academics flow from that naturally. I don't have to work on reading and studying. So 1, be specific. Well, 1, start with you, second person. 2, be specific. 3, be identity oriented. And then 4, I don't care how uncomfortable this is, do it for a minimum of a week.
Mm.
Because within the first 3 days, we're already seeing changes in the neurobiology of the brain. As you are changing your self-talk, the brain begins to change the neural pathways that are inside. within 3 days. And
3 days.
Within 3 days, the changes start. So it's uncomfortable, it's weird, it's awkward for 3 days. But if you keep it up, those changes start to cement by 7 days. And within a month or 2 months, you now see yourself as that new identity. I am a reader. You are a child of God. You are special. You are holy. You are blameless.
Mm-hmm.
You say those words to yourself and you start to put on the identity. The old is gone. The new is here. You start putting on your new identity. Now, how does a child of God act in a grocery store when 3 people are in line?
Sure.
You don't have to tell yourself, you need to be polite and you need to let somebody go ahead of you. You need to let that old lady with the kid get in. No, you don't have to, because what does the child of God do? He serves.
Yep.
And so as a servant, I serve. And so since my identity is a servant, then I will naturally see the opportunity to serve. So 1, do you. 2, be specific. 3, focus on identity. And 4, give it a week before you judge it
Mm-hmm.
and see what happens.
Very good. Good stuff, Doc.
Boom.
Go get it. Stop with your lying. You're only fooling yourself.
And if you're still listening, hit the subscribe and follow button. Give us a like.
And have
2 seconds.
an awesome week.